Welcome once again to my kitchen here at Trails N62. And what we're going to do today is a little bit different than what I've been doing. I'm going to do a little cooking today. I just finished doing some peppers from my kitchen garden this year and dehydrating them. I chopped them up to dehydrate them, and I had some jalapenos, mammoth jalapenos that I got from my garden. And I'm going to make some jalapeno poppers out of these. So sometimes I do my jalapenos, I'll chop them up and put them in the freezer. I chop them up small so I can add them to things like salsa and soups and chilies and stuff like that. I like a little bit of heat. I can't take as much heat as I used to, but I still like a little bit of heat. And so I use these jalapenos for that. And sometimes I'll freeze them, sometimes I'll dehydrate them, sometimes I'll dehydrate them and then grind them up into a powder and use them for a shake-on seasoning. But these particular jalapenos I'm going to eat, and I'm going to wrap them up in bacon. Of course, everything's good in bacon, so you know these are going to be good. We're going to stuff them with cheese and wrap them in bacon. We're going to do them in an air fryer. I've got two little air fryers that I use. I like the air fryer. It doesn't use a lot of oil, and it does a good job, and I like it. And so we're going to do these in air fryers. I found this recipe. And take these jalapenos. We're going to chop them up. Basically what I'll do is I'll cut them lengthwise like this, and I'll stuff them with cheese, shredded cheese, and you can use any kind of cheese you want, cheddar cheese. I don't use cream cheese. Some people put cream cheese in them. I'm not a particular fan of cream cheese in my jalapeno poppers, but these are going to be with shredded Monterey Jack and cheddar mixed. So gives a little different taste to them, a little flavor to them, and I kind of like that. So, well, let me show you what I'm doing here with my peppers, and then we'll show you what we're doing here with the air fryers. All right. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these lengthwise. Now, sometimes the jalapeno has a little twist to it, a little hump in it. There, see? So, make sure you put that hump down when you cut it. And cut it lengthwise. You put that hump down, and we just leave the stems and everything on it and just slice it as evenly as we can lengthwise. Now we leave that little hump on there because, as you can see, then they'll lay more flat when they're laying down. The next thing I do is I'm going to take a spoon and I'm going to scrape the insides out with a spoon. So I'm going to scrape the insides out with a spoon, and I just kind of use the spoon and just scrape it out. The angle's not real great on that. Sorry about that. But I don't want to get these jalapeno seeds all over the place. So basically what I do is I'll take the spoon and I'll put it around a metal spoon and I'll scrape out the insides. And I'll scrape it all out. Knock the seeds out, and I'll do the other side. Now a lot of times you'll get one that's more shallower than the other. That's to be expected unless you're a perfect cutter, which I'm not. Before you start on these, what you need to do is you need to take your cheese out of the refrigerator and let it set out, because it needs to be at room temperature. Now the reason it's at room temperature is so you can stuff it in there better and it'll kind of stick together. If it's cold, it stays real flaky and doesn't stick together. So I set my cheese out in a paper plate here, and so that it'll get to room temperature, so that when I squeeze it, it'll stick together when I put it in the jalapeno. Because you want it to stay below, the rims on the jalapeno, so it kind of stays down in there. So the shallower ones won't have as much cheese. They'll have just as much bacon, but they won't have as much cheese, because we're going to use one piece of bacon to wrap around them. Alright? I'm going to finish up these jalapenos, slicing them up and de-seeding them, and by then my cheese will be good at room temperature, and we'll show you how we do it from there. Okay, we're ready to stuff our peppers now. We got our bacon here. We got our cheese at room temperature. Right now, I only have 9 pieces of bacon thawed out. I can my bacon, so I don't have a lot of bacon to do this with, but I just happen to have. I've got 9 pieces of bacon here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take my cheese and basically I stuff it down into it, pack it down in there. So the pack's down in there pretty good. Then I take my piece of bacon and starting at the stem end, and I'm just going to wrap it, overlapping it, wrapping it fairly tight because this cheese is going to melt as this cooks. We don't want it leaking out too much. So we're going to get that wrapped pretty good in there. Get that wrapped up. Then we'll set those aside. Then we'll do the next one. Like I say, we're going to pack the cheese down in there. I like a lot of cheese, but you want to get it down in there so at least it's even with the sides when you get it packed in there pretty tight. And this is why you need the cheese to be room temperature. And again, we're going to take our bacon, and we're going to wrap it around, overlapping, wrapping it fairly tight so our cheese doesn't leak out as it fries up. And there we go. Now I'm going to finish these up and we'll get back to you. And there we have it, 9 jalapeno poppers. I love this recipe here, especially with the bacon on it, because I like to make homemade jalapeno poppers and with my own jalapenos. And the breading just always comes off. I never could find the right recipe to do that. I know there is one, but I never could get it. But this bacon wrap, I'm going to tell you what, these don't fall off, they don't crumble, and they're good. Alright, now our next step is to put this in the refrigerator for about 25 to 30 minutes, let it cool back down before we do our air frying. We'll leave those there for about 25 to 30 minutes. Okay, it's been about 30 minutes. So we're going to take these out. Put them over here in the air fryer. Now I have 2 air fryers, so I'm going to use them both so I can spread these out in here. Set my air fryer on 325, 330. Now I'm not going to preheat it. Sometimes I preheat the air fryer, sometimes I don't. Depends on what I'm doing. But I'm going to heat these on 330 because it actually says 325. And my heater deal doesn't go to 325. It goes 320, 330. So I'm going to put 5 of them in this one. Space them out. About halfway through I'll turn them. Takes about 20 minutes. So I'm going to set my air fryer here on 10 minutes. At 330, see it goes from 320 to 330. At 330, and we're going to start it. Now this is my old air fryer here. And I'm going to take these and I'll put 4 in this one here. This one is not digital. This one is, it just got a hand timer on it. So I space them out in there, and I'll do this one for 10 minutes. Set their timer up here. Set between 320 and 340, so about 330. And we'll plug that in, and we'll turn that up 10 minutes. We'll come back and check them. Okay, the first 10 minutes is up. We're going to take this out, see how they're cooking nicely in there. Got a little bit of cheese coming out there. Now we're going to take and just move these a little bit so they don't get really stuck where they're at. Alright. And then we're going to stick it back in, and we're going to do it another 10 minutes. And we'll do the other one the same way. It'll go off here in just a second. Well, there they are. Bacon wrapped jalapeno poppers. I'm going to let them cool off. Then I'm going to have me some, because those look good. So that's just a little thing I do with my jalapenos from my garden. So just a little note on my jalapeno bacon wrapped poppers. They're always better when they're hot, warm. It's the best time to eat poppers. You let them get cold, you know, it's just cold bacon, but it's still bacon and it's good. So in order to keep them from going bad, why, I ate all 9 of them throughout the day, and they were good. Appreciate you being here. Going to be doing some more cooking videos, so I'll keep you posted on Trails End 62 on YouTube. There we have it. Bacon wrapped, bacon good, jalapeno poppers. From my kitchen to yours, from my house to yours. God bless.